this was supposed to be a year that Democrats didn't stand a chance. It's going to be a blowout. Well, you know what? The generic poll now says that the Democrats are ahead in the generic poll. Of course, there's a lot of work left to be done. There's a lot of time to the election. So there's much, much more that's left to be done. But when it comes to letting Americans know exactly what their choices are in November, Donny Deutsch, I really love what he has to say. It's been common knowledge, or it was acceptable knowledge, that it's always the economy stupid. It's always the economy stupid. Well, Donny Deutsch has kind of changed that. Just maybe it's all about crazy stupid. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Donny, the problem for the whole of us, though, is that the violence and the threats and the hatred endanger all of us. There's a direct line between the ideology and the current Homeland Security issued warning of an uptick in threats of domestic violent extremism. It's around the grievances over the election. And I think in Pennsylvania, you've seen some of the extremist groups marching openly in broad daylight on the streets. I don't know that anybody except the militia groups themselves wants to live in that country. How do you, in your view, sort of take this message mainstream and make people understand that's the choice?
I think it's exactly what you just said. Let me also point out one more thing about our friend Mastriano. He obviously was part of January 6th. He got buses organized there, and he likened it. These were his words in an interview to Hitler's Reichstag and the fire and the rise of Nazism, and kind of drew those parallels himself. This is what we're talking about. I think you have to scare the hell out of people. I think those 40% have to understand that are still voting for Mastriano. He has come out and he said, look, with one stroke of my pen, I will be in control of the elections in this state. I will be putting in the head of elections, and I will overtake all of the voting machines with one stroke of my pen. This is what he's saying. Autocrats and fascists tell you what they're going to do. The thing about Donald Trump that we figured out years later is he tells you what he's going to do. He told us he wasn't leaving office peacefully. We don't, so all we have to do is listen and continue to amplify. But the Democrats, you've got to put all of this in one bucket. That's why I referenced even the J.D. Vance thing before, which is off point from here. But this level of crazy insanity, and I'm going to say it again. I know James Carville said it's the economy stupid, but in this election coming up in the midterms of 24, it's crazy stupid. Make it about crazy. In generic polls, in generic ballot polls, the Democrats are winning by 5 and 6% across most polls. And this is against 50-year inflation, a 50-year stock market low, a very, very humbled economy. So what the Democrats have to do, and the Lincoln Project does it, but the Main Street Democrats have to do it, is show and scare the hell out of people, saying we cannot have these crazy fascists in power.
But it's not just about scaring people. It's about legitimately explaining to them why they should be scared if we have a takeover by these nuts that are currently running the Republican Party. But it's deeper than that. I mean, you notice Donny and several people have been noting that the generic poll has really turned in many instances towards Democrats by 5 and 6 points. I did a little bit of research on that. And what I found out is that the generic poll using registered voters have made that big turn. The generic poll using likely voters, and however likely voters are defined, doesn't quite show that margin. I think the average margin is quite a bit less than that, if not the Republicans having a slight lead in the likely voter poll. What we have to do, or what Democrats have to do, what progressives have to do, is turn those registered voters into likely voters, into definite voters, because you can have whatever sentiment you want. You can say, I prefer to have these progressives running the show. But if you're not willing to go out and vote, it doesn't matter what you want. Your non-vote, in effect, is a vote for the people who will do you harm. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.